Justice, Sergeant Company A. Bissell, Ephraim C., Private Company H. Burke, Thomas, Private Company A. Madden, Thomas, Private Company C.
This commission, appointed by order of the Secretary of War, has as its solemn purpose the assessment of the responsibility for the massacre of 21st December last, with special reference to the personal responsibility of the then commanding officer of the 18th Regiment, Colonel Henry Carrington, by whose orders 81 men were sent into action against upwards of 2,000 hostile Sioux and Cheyenne, and were annihilated to the last man.
I'm still waiting. Very well. Keep them at attention, Lieutenant.
Colonel, if you please. Sir, how long do you intend to keep these men standing at attention?
Until the guilty man steps forward. I thought I made that clear, Lieutenant Grumman. I'll be in my quarters. Search the barracks?
Yes, sir. Nothing.
Are you all right, dear?
I was just wondering what your father would do in a case like this.
Just what you're doing.
The men must have hated him.
They loved him.
Therein lies the mystery.
The mystery?
Of command.
I don't see what's so mysterious about it. You've done very well.
Have I? Run along, dear. Come in. What is it, Dutch?
I don't think we're getting anywhere, Colonel.
I want this special order put up on the board immediately. Post personnel of all ranks are reminded that the Cheyennes encamped at Fort Phil, Kearny have pledged loyalty to the government of the United States of America, and have in return been guaranteed such security and protection as the military forces in the post can provide. Abrogation of this guarantee by anyone, officer or enlisted man, is a court-martial offense.
I don't think this is the time for that, sir.
Why not?
I don't think it matters much who stole that Indian's rifle, and I think it's a mistake to make too much out of it.
A mistake? A soldier in my command disobeyed a direct order.
Yes, sir. But there are times when you have to bend a little, or you'll get broken in half. And I think this is one of those times. To bend.
Take this order and post it.
Yes, sir.
Dutch. I've been away from my regiment for a long time. They've gotten used to other ways of doing things. I'm afraid they're gonna have to do the bending. Not me.
It's getting cold, gentlemen. Any day now we can expect a blizzard. You know where you'll be? Right here, where the snow drifts clean up to your... Did you get anywhere?
Colonel is a very determined man.
You know what it's come to, gentlemen? Prayer. Last night, the non-commissioned officers held a full minute of silent prayer for deliverance from this Ohio lawyer and all 178 of his special orders.
Here's 179. Posted.
Party approaching, sir. Officer and escort, looks like.
Great time for company.
Sir, I think it's Colonel Fetterman.
Fetterman.
Do you believe it? Deliverance at last. Colonel Fetterman. How are you, Colonel?
Captain Fetterman, Georgie. The war's over.
You're still Colonel to me.
Welcome to Fort Kearny, Bill.
Dutch, how are you?
Fine, and you? Good.
Did you ever think he'd be the answer to a prayer?
Well, what's he talking about? That's a long story. Passing through? Enemy's moving in pretty close, seems like.
The Colonel's orphans. We're spoon-feeding them.
Well, these are friendlies. Didn't know there was such in these parts.
Nah, it's a new world coming.
Bill, let's present you to the Colonel.
Welcome to the post, sir.
At ease, soldier. Hannafy, isn't it?
That's right, sir.
Stones River.
Yes, sir. Health pay.
There sure was, Hannafy. And we paid it, didn't we?
That we did, sir. You gonna take over?
You wouldn't want that now, would you?
Wouldn't mind a bit, sir. Be like old times.
If his spurs don't jingle with a ring-a-ding-ding and there ain't no feather on his hat, then it sure ain't Fetterman. Fetterman! Make me $1 on
Captain Fetterman reporting, sir.
Welcome to Fort Kearny, Captain.
Thank you, sir.
Passing through?
No, sir. Reporting for duty. My orders.
Pleasant surprise.
Thank you, sir.
I thought these men were at attention, Lieutenant.
Attention!
Lieutenant Grumman will show you to your quarters, Captain.
Thank you, sir. Colonel, mind if I ask what's going on here?
Discipline.
Somebody stole a rifle from the Indian camp outside the gate.
And?
We're in the process of finding out.
You asked them?
We've been beating on their heads for 2 hours.
You won't mind if I try, will you, Colonel?
Not at all. You'll excuse me?
Why don't we let the Colonel handle this and we'll get you settled?
Hush up, Dutch. I just want to help.
Most of you men have soldiered with me from Stones River to Atlanta. You have a pretty good notion of the way I handle things. Now, I'm going to count to 10. That's all the time I'm going to give the man who swiped that engine's rifle a step forward.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I took it, sir. I couldn't stand it watching that Injun parade around with an army rifle, whilst his cousins over yonder go to killing us. I done it. I done it, sir. I'm sorry.
You don't want to go blaming me for the Lord's doing, Dutch. The Lord giveth and he taketh away. He giveth some to command men and some to figure ration reports. It's a wise man who knows what the Lord gave him and acts accordingly.
Colonel Carrington's doing all right here.
Not the way I heard it in Omaha.
Doing exactly what he was sent here to do. He's built this fort. He's protected the immigrant wagons. He's kept casualties down.
Because he won't fight. No trick at all.
You know, I should have thought you'd have the good sense, the kindness. Stay away.
Kindness.
You know what you'll do to him, don't you?
I never felt a particular obligation to be kind to him, Dutch.
All right, Bill.
Wait a minute. You ever think of me?
Yes, I have.
Like hell.
Bill, listen to me.
No, you listen to me. I fought my way through 700 miles of rep country with the 18th. Bled for them, and they bled for me. Bivouacked on a field at Stones River so close to the enemy we could hear them breathe. I had a 16-year-old private die in my arms while I prayed for him so hard it choked me. My blood is mixed with theirs.
You don't have to tell me.
Then this death soldier waltzes on stage after the war's over and gets me transferred out to male escort duty, 27 miles from nowhere, so he can ride at the head of my men. No, Dutch. I did not have the kindness to stay away.
I got no excuses, sir. None whatever.
You understood the standing orders of those Cheyennes.
Yes, sir?
You just presented an Indian with a government rifle.
Yes, sir. I got the feeling that rifle is being used against us. I'm not so sure about them Injuns, sir.
Well, I'm afraid you're just going to have to trust my judgment, soldier.
Yes, sir. I ain't making no excuse, sir.
Tell Captain Fetterman I'll see him in my office right away.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir?
I'm curious about something.
Yes, sir?
You let your buddies stand out there in the cold for over 2 hours. Why? Afraid of punishment?
Some, I guess.
Captain Fetterman asked the same question I did.
Yes, sir.
Well, weren't you afraid of punishment then? Or did you think the captain would get you off easy?
Oh, no, sir. He bucked and gagged me down to Stones River. Something fierce. Worst ever.
Yeah, you answered him right away. You didn't even hesitate. Why?
Maybe because it was him that asked. I wish I had a better answer, sir.
That one's good enough. Thank you, soldier. Come in.
Colonel, sir?
At ease, Captain. You get settled all right?
Yes, sir. A little bit like being home.
I can imagine.
Sorry, sir. Long time since I heard that. We marched to it from Tennessee to Atlanta.
One of my shortcomings, I guess. My spurs don't jingle with the ring, ding, ding.
It doesn't make much sense.
On the contrary. Please sit down, Captain.
Thank you, sir. So what did Private Tompkins have to say?
He didn't approve of an Indian carrying an Army-issue rifle.
I can't blame him.
It was his own. He bought it legally. Through the Indian Bureau.
How long has that camp been there?
A couple of weeks. It started with Chief Little Dog and about a dozen followers. About 50 Cheyenne out there now. They come in a few at a time. If we keep faith with them, more will follow. Eventually, we hope to see the Sioux encamped here as well. The idea being it's easier to feed an Indian than to kill him.
Yes, I understand. Easier.
Captain Fetterman, our assignment isn't to fight. It's to keep the Bozeman Trail open and to guarantee the settlers safe passage north.
And how do you know these well-fed Indians aren't pot-shotting you on the sly? Sending runners out to the hostiles every time you leave the fort.
I've come to know the chief very well. I trust him.
Fine Christian attitude. Trouble is you're dealing with heathen. So what happens to Private Tompkins?
Garrison court-martial day after tomorrow.
I'd like to sit on the court.
If you wish. I trust you bear tidings from Omaha.
General Cook.
He's unhappy with our losses to the immigrants, impatient with their inactivity. He'd like to see the war carried to the enemy.
You're omniscient.
Merely literate. My desk is filled with his dispatches.
Well, if you'd like me to brief you on his attitude, I'd be more than happy to.
That won't be necessary, Captain. We've got a fighting force of 300 effectives. That's 5 companies. Hardly an offensive unit. When we fight, it's because we have to.
We used to fight because it was the job.
Thank you, Captain. I'll keep that in mind.
Begging your pardon, sir. But they'd understand back at headquarters if you chose to return to administrating duties. No orders, you understand. It's just a suggestion.
Captain Fetterman, the 18th is my regiment. I organized it back in '61. I took a bunch of dirt farmers and shopkeepers and turned them into soldiers, fighting men, only to watch you lead them off to war and to glory. Well, I'm their commander now, and that's the way it's going to stay. Do we understand each other?
We understand each other.
Get out, come on, we're moving on. Hut, get out.
This is the pinery. It's the heart of our operation. 76,800 board feet in the stockade alone. Nearly 500,000 board feet run through that sawmill before we're finished.
Just think of that.
There's enough lumber in this tract to build a city.
How many board feet?
Well, I haven't stopped to figure it out. I imagine one of those big trees would be... Why don't you figure it out, Captain? We escort every wagon between here and the fort. Picket posts in the hills. That's Lodge Trail Ridge, the end of our world, and the beginning of theirs. Our scouts report 2,000 hostiles on the other side.
If there's that many of them, what stops them from moving in?
The howitzers at the fort, 2 of them. They call them the guns that shoot twice. They don't know what to make of them.
Colonel, sir! Over yonder, on the ridge.
That's a flag of truce. They want to parley.
What's the point?
They're Sioux. I've been trying to meet with them ever since we got here.
Colonel, there's an old saying. Never talk to your enemy until you've licked them.
If they want to talk, Captain, we'll talk. Sergeant? I'll do the talking. Van Eyck will translate. Tell him we welcome this chance.
Washijo yapo, makoche lena unkitha. Washijo wapi le hea, lakota, bahasa bale kitha.
He says he's got a treaty, Colonel. We all signed it. These hills belong to him and nobody else.
Tell him the land is his. All we ask is to pass safely through it to Montana.
Nakichi tra tranka, la heya. Nakichi netra, la heya Montana.
Akichita kipi gaga schneo.
Nobody goes through, Colonel. Nobody.
Tell him we're here to protect the Indians as well as the whites.
Makoche lena unkitha. Do any unkitha gao gatko gashne.
Fetterman, put that down. Put it down.
Akichita, dokshanif einte. Yapo.
Get back to the fort.
You let him talk to you like that, you'll lose the fight before it starts. Colonel, you give me Lieutenants Brown and Grumman and 100 men, and we'll ride roughshod over the whole Sioux Nation.
You heard me. Move!
He's out to get you, Colonel.
Go ahead, Dutch.
All right. Well, I was gonna pour you one, but the Colonel doesn't drink.
He will tonight.
Oh, good.
Easy. I'm sending this in the morning. Captain William Judd, Fetterman, and escort arrived yesterday with orders assigning him to this post. He's a first-rate combat officer with a fine record. There are, however, other considerations.
Well, why are you looking at me?
I can't let him get away with what he did this afternoon. He'd probably spoil the only chance we had to reason instead of fight. Well?
Well, I agree. It's going to be pretty hard to prove that to Omaha. I think if you go ahead and file that thing, you're going to get yourself into a tight corner.
What you see in that stuff, I'll never know.
Well, you got to give it about 3 minutes. Colonel,
Yes?
I'm a Dutchman.
That I know.
One of my ancestors was Rembrandt. Did you know that?
That I didn't know.
You know, as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be an artist. I studied painting in school. My father even got me a teacher. But then one day it came over me that I never was going to be an artist. Never, no matter how hard I tried. You see, you can't be an artist just because you want to be. You've got to have the feel for it. Something else has got to guide the hand besides the brain and the muscles. Something else. You've got to be born with it. And I wasn't. So I'm an officer in the United States Army, and I drink a little too much, and I look at other people's paintings.
I take it there's a message in that for me.
Yes, you're trying awfully hard to be a commander.
Dutch.
And if it's not in you, it's no good. It's just no good. Whether you want to be a painter or a musician or a commander or anything else.
But it's in Fetterman.
Oh, yes. Let him ask, and that whole regiment would follow him straight into hell.
And that's exactly where he'll take him. He just doesn't understand. He's got this mixed up with another war. Give him 100 men and he'll ride through the whole Sioux Nation. He loses 100 men, who's left to man the fort? What happens to the women and children?
Wait a minute. Maybe he will ride through the whole Sioux Nation.
With his spurs jing, jing, jingle, no doubt. 3 minutes was right.
Colonel, as I see it, you've got 3 choices. You can transfer out, turn the command over to Fetterman,
That's no choice. You'd ruin it.
or you can stay and fight him. And fight him you'll have to. He thinks he's earned the right to command the 18th, and headquarters has given him every encouragement on that score. He'll chip you to pieces an inch at a time.
Oh, I could go to Omaha and prefer charges.
Oh, because while you're knocking him off, he'll be dragging you down with him. He can make out a pretty hard case. Make it appear as though you're an unfit commander, maybe ruin your career. Are you willing to pay that price?
Yes, that's what it costs.
Well, then you'll need much tougher charges than those.
All right. But the first time he steps out of line, I'm calling him. The price be damned.
Now, Private Tompkins, you say that only the day before you appropriated that Cheyenne's rifle, you'd seen him in the hills.
Yes, sir.
Where was that?
Between here and the Pinery, sir. About 3 miles from the fort.
He was with other Indians?
Yes, sir. Hostiles. Sioux, I think.
You're sure they were hostiles?
Pretty sure, sir. I figured any Indian who trucks with the enemy ain't got no right to United States Army rifle.
But you're not positive they were Sioux, are you?
Well, sir, one Indian looks pretty much like another to me. I got a good notion he used that rifle against us more than once. So the rest of the men.
Who are we fighting anyway, the engines or the officers? This court-martial don't make sense.
You watch. Captain Fetterman will see he gets off.
Post personnel of all ranks are reminded that the Cheyennes encamped at Fort Phil Kearny. Know what I think of the colonel's orders?
Massacre. Leave it be.
Colonel, do you realize what you're asking your men to accept?
I do?
I wonder. Colonel, this regiment, we're fighters, all of us. We just can't get used to the idea of the enemy riding around our gates with army rifles under their arms.
The Cheyenne are not the enemy.
You have only their word for that. Men are getting killed every day out there. As trained soldiers, their instinct is to strike back. Now, I say you can't hold Tompkins responsible.
And I say you must. What's at issue here is that my direct orders have been flagrantly violated. An incontestable act of insubordination. The rest is irrelevant. Gentlemen, you have to decide this issue. I can only speak to you as your commanding officer. And as such, I must remind you what's at stake here. The authority of this command. And ask that you see that it's upheld. Private Tompkins' motives notwithstanding. I leave you to make a decision.
Colonel, I think you know where I stand in this.
I suppose I do. I'd hoped your officer training might have convinced you otherwise.
I'm sorry, sir.
We just made too big an issue out of it, sir. That's what it's all about, knowing when to stand and when to bend.
Wagon from the Pinery! Approaching with casualties! Surgeon! Get the surgeon!
It's Hannafy, sir.
Hannafy.
Cheyenne. It was Cheyenne.
Scalped alive. Colonel, I'd like once more to respectfully suggest that camp of Indians be ordered to move.
No time to talk about that.
That's just the point, sir. This is the time.
We can have this out in the office, Colonel.
Sergeant, take him down to the hospital.
No point now, sir.
Colonel, you haven't answered my question.
I don't have to. It's right over there. Captain. Have Lieutenant Grumman make a full investigation. I suggest that you appoint Sergeant Kincaid to write to Hanafy's family or delegate someone else. Perhaps someone closer to Hanafy. We'll send his valuables home, auction the rest. Know about your conduct.
Colonel, about those Cheyennes.
There are 50 Cheyennes camped outside this fort, and about 400 more with the Sioux who haven't come in. I will not punish the 50 for the actions of the rest. That's final.
The way the men see it...
Drop it. The colonel's made his decision.
No, I will not drop it. I will not stand idly by and watch my men butchered by the enemy. Misled, miscommanded by a stupid, cowardly, incompetent...
Shut up! Retract that. Captain.
Sorry, Colonel. Every word stands.
You're confined to quarters till I send for you.
Colonel.
Get out, Dutch.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say, of course, I'll witness everything that was said here if you want to press it.
There's no if about it.
Sorry. Just not in the mood, I guess. Been feeling depressed for some reason.
Depressed about what?
Hate to admit it, but I think I'm homesick. Thinking a lot about Ohio, home, Christmas, snow outside the door, and candles on the tree inside. All of a sudden, I just wanted, in the worst way, to go home.
What's this, Margaret? Trying to make it easy for me?
You object?
Well, the fort's nearly finished. Work's almost done. My wife longs for Ohio. Therefore, the colonel commanding respectfully tenders his resignation. You know, he always said, any old soldier can stand and fight. It's the unusual one who knows when to retreat.
I never saw him retreat.
And yet you want me to retreat. Why?
Because you're not like him. And I'm glad of it. I had quite enough of my father the years I lived with him. I wanted a human being. I wanted a gentle, sensitive, kind man. And that's what I got. You're not the general. You're not Bill Fetterman. You're Henry Carrington. You've done a very good job here. You've built a fine fort. You kept your men alive. You've escorted the wagon trains. Now have done with it. Let him win.
I can't.
Why not?
Because Fetterman's the worst man in the world for it. Besides, I can make him bend now.
Why is it so important to you to lead the charge? The bugles blowing and the cannon roaring. saber in your hand and pistol on your hip.
Maybe every man wants what's beyond him. But I'll not let this end in disgrace, my reputation gone.
That doesn't become you. Ever since we met, you've stood in the shadow of the general, trying every way you knew how to be something that you weren't meant to be. Ever.
I wanted it for you.
Why? You were more at home in your law office. That's why I loved you. That's why I married you. You never had to prove anything to me.
Come in.
Morning, Colonel.
There are the charges, Captain. Willful and flagrant insubordination.
Am I being returned to Omaha?
That would be the jurisdiction for a general court-martial, wouldn't it?
It would be, sir.
You understand all I'd have to do is to quote you. Tonight would corroborate and you'd be finished.
We both would be finished, Colonel. You know that as well as I do. As a lawyer, you know what kind of a defense I'd make.
You still feel as you did yesterday?
I was upset, of course.
You might not have meant what you said?
I'll admit I spoke hastily.
But I want it understood. You're expressly forbidden any contact whatsoever with that village of friendly Cheyennes under any circumstances. And if I hear any talk of reprisals against them, I'll instantly reactivate these charges. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You're dismissed.
Indian attack! They hit the wood train!
Tonight! Sir!
Company A, Company C, form up!
Yes, sir!
Brown! Drummond!
Yes, sir.
Form up Companies A and C!
Yes, sir.
Bugler!
Company A, Company C, to your post. To your post. Come on, let's go. Double time. Company A, Company B, Company C, to your post. All right, Chris, round up your mouth. Come on, round up your mouth. Ready to get through, mister. Let's go.
We're not pressing in.
Come on, everything's moving.
Might be a decoy attack.
Well, they've tried that before.
You relieve the train. Don't try anything else. Understand?
Yes, sir.
What are my orders, Colonel?
Captain Ten Eyck will command the relief force.
Sir, I'd like to point out I'm senior officer to Captain Ten Eyck.
I need an experienced commander, Fetterman.
I'm the senior captain here. The command is mine.
All right, but understand this. That isn't Stone's River. Those aren't Rebs out there. They don't fight by the rules.
I understand.
You'll relieve the wood train and retire.
Retire?
Yes. They'll try to draw you over Lodge Trail Ridge. Under no circumstances are you to follow. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You get in trouble out there, you're on your own. You'll have every man I can spare.
he's got the fit in his teeth now.
There are times where you have to bend. You said that yourself.
Yes, sir. The trick is to know when.
We saw you coming, sir. Skedaddled, the whole bunch.
Seems to be over, sir.
All right, you've done it, but pull back. Bring the wagons home.
We're heading back over Lodge Trail Ridge.
Captain?
Well, are we gonna retire like the Colonel says? Well, Captain?
Blow the charge, Brown. We're going after him!
It's a trap.
He's taking the bait. He's going over Lodge Trail Ridge.
God help him.
It is the judgment of this board that Colonel Carrington's orders were both clear and explicit, and that Captain Fetterman chose to ignore them. As a result, 81 officers and enlisted personnel lost their lives. The responsibility for this disaster can be laid to no one but Captain Fetterman, and his memory must bear it. One question remains, however. Why did an experienced and respected Army officer presume to flagrantly and willfully disobey the expressed command of his superior? That answer we must leave to the speculations of history.